Hi guys, it's Michaela at D&D Beef. I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about beef shares today. If you're new here, you may not know that we sell quarter halves and whole beef. That's actually how I was introduced to selling beef. My grandpa had sold beef, for over 50 years. He started this business inadvertently by selling to friends and family, and a couple of years ago, I started our branded beef business. So beef shares is nothing new to me. We've been doing it forever, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that process today. So if you order a quarter half or whole beef from D&D Beef, that's literally 25, 50, or 100% of an animal's carcass. So if you order a quarter beef, that's 25% of an animal's cuts. So brisket to oxtail, it's literally from nose to tail, you get 25% of that animal's cut. When you order a quarter half or whole beef, the process is we ask for a $200 down payment. It's a good faith, lets me know that you're serious about reserving a beef share. And the reason why this is so important to us is it takes about 16 to 18 months for an animal to be ready for butcher from birth. It's not a fast process, and this allows us to make sure we have enough inventory and know that people are serious about receiving a quarter half or whole beef. Most of our animals are ready in the late summer, fall, just due to our animals' natural life cycle and when we calve. We do have some randomly throughout the year, but we can't guarantee it. We can always guarantee fall and late summer if you let us know soon. When you order quarter, half, or whole beef, you pay your $200 deposit, and I sign you up to our list. When it gets closer to me knowing when your animal is going to be going to the butcher, I will send you an email about a month out, maybe a little earlier, and saying, hey, your animal's scheduled on this date. Just wanted to let you know. When your animal's taken to the butcher will weigh the carcass weight of your animal. We ask for the remainder of our payment based off the animal's carcass weight. So an animal has a carcass weight of about 800 to 900 pounds. That's the standard whole animal carcass weight. Every animal is different. We have some carcass weights that weigh 730, and we have some carcass weights that weigh 970. Now, yes, that's a big swing. We're not a huge ranch. We can't cherry pick to make sure all of our animals are exactly the same size that we're selling you. So that is a disclaimer. Our carcass weights vary because nobody weighs the same. Once we get your carcass weight, I'll send you an invoice with the remainder of your payment. This does not include processing. You will not know how much processing costs until they are done. The reason is every animal is different. How you have your animal processed varies. I can't give you a good estimate because if you decide to do stew meat and fajita meat and have them package patties, they'll add X amount cents more onto the standard processing cost. So I can give you a ballpark idea, but you have full control, and I can't estimate that for you. When I contact you and tell you that your animal is getting taken to the butcher, I will ask you for your phone number. I give your phone number to our butcher. Our butcher will call you approximately a week to 14-ish days after your animal was taken to the butcher to get your processing instructions. On average, our animals are dry aged for 21 days. Now, this is up to the butcher. If they are really busy, sometimes they will move animals a little faster through. This will not affect the quality at all. 21 days is huge and is way longer than the industry average. 14 to 21 days is what most small butchers do, and most butchers actually only do 10 to 14 days. So our butcher is phenomenal in the amount of time they let our animals dry age, but just so you know, sometimes it is a little bit shorter, just depending on the butcher's workload. Once a butcher calls you, they will walk you through a cut sheet. All this information is available on our website for you to review and to get an idea and to think about how you want your beef processed. They will ask you how many pounds of ground beef per package, how many steaks per package, how thick would you like your steaks cut? Do you want roasts? Do you want ribs? They will run through the standard cut sheet list. If you see a cut on there, or when they're running through the cut sheet with you and they don't ask if you want a cut that you were wanting, please ask. You can get skirt steaks, flank steaks, tri-tip. Just ask the butcher and they'll be more than happy to grab those cuts for you. Once the butcher goes through the cut sheet with you, they will then call you once your animal is processed. So once they're done dry aging the carcass, they will take it down, they will cut it exactly to your specifications, box it up, put it in their freezer, and call and tell you that it's ready for pickup. When you pick up your beef, you will pay for processing at that time. I will have already received my cost for the animal, and then you will pay them for the processing. If you would like it delivered, you can pay me for delivery, and then I will bring the invoice for processing with me at pickup. But if you go to the actual butcher, you will have to pay at that time. Once you get your beef, go home. You can throw it in your chest freezer. I always get questions on my favorite chest freezer. Just a big old chest freezer, not an upright. I like the ones that are on the ground. They have a better freezing. They seem to keep meat better, fresher. And how long can you keep meat in your freezer? I have eaten meat that's been over 2 years old that was in the corner of our chest freezer. It was not freezer burnt. It did not taste funky. As long as you've got a good freezer and a good seal and you know you've got good beef, if it's coming from D&D beef, you will be okay. But the guidelines are about a year in a chest freezer, I believe. As long as it doesn't nick, and if your packaging does nick in your freezer, we just put that and set that on the top if you see a seal is popped, because you want to use it sooner rather than later, because the oxygen will get in there and your beef will start to crystallize. If you do find a cut that's crystallized a little bit in a corner where you didn't see the seal is popped, it is still okay. You can still cook it. It will still taste just fine. Don't throw it away. It's still good beef because it's from D&D beef. So if you guys have any questions about our beef shares process, please shoot me a message. We do have some availability for this fall still. So if it's something you're interested in, you can still sign up. I hope I answered some questions and I hope that made sense to you guys. We also, on our website, I had this really awesome graphic made from my friend. And she talks about, how much freezer space you should need, what cuts you can expect, like how many based off the animal size. And a lot of this varies on how thick you have your steak cut and also the size of the animal. A larger animal, will have more cuts. A smaller animal, you may have less cuts. So for example, a quarter beef, you'll get 7-ish ribeyes, 7-ish T-bones, or New York strips and fillets, 3 to 5 sirloin steaks, about 5 to 6 roasts, 55 to 70 pounds of ground beef. And all this varies on how you have your animal processed. If you have your steaks cut 1 inch thick or 1.5 inches thick. And if you get skirt steaks or flank steaks, or if you only want chuck roasts and you have them grind the rest of the roast, you're going to yield more ground beef. If I didn't say this already, like short ribs. And all of those cuts will affect how much meat you yield. You should yield 50 to 55%, like I said, but it'll be higher the more cuts you get. When we get our own beef for consumption, I've weighed my meat before. I yield about 57% beef, depending on how I get it cut. But we get a lot of cuts from our animal, and that means they don't lose as much with trimming. So if you have any questions, please let me know. If you're interested in a beef share, let me know. If you're not local, we don't ship our beef shares at this time. If you would like a quarter beef shared, I can give you a quote for that. It is a little expensive. But we also have our beef club boxes available, which are great savings. They're well-rounded boxes, and you get first dibs on all of our cuts. And each month I email you with what's going to be in it. And if you're like, hey, Michaela, I'd like a tri-tip this month, I'll get that to you. So there's lots of perks with being in our beef club boxes. And it's a great way to get, if you're a meat eater and you love all cuts of beef, it's a great way to get the cuts you want. So I hope this helped. I hope you guys have a great day. If you have any questions, message me, comment, hop on over to our website. I'd be happy to answer them. Thanks, guys.